Hi there, this is Medea Alatini. I am working with Yukon College on a project to determine if First Nations want to move ahead with an Institute for Indigenous Self-Determination. So this project or this idea has been around for quite a while. Back in 2016, Ranch Pillay had done an intensive consultation process with the 14 Yukon First Nations and leadership around education institutions, and just wanted to determine whether First Nations really supported this idea of creating a Center for Excellence for implementing our agreements. So that work was done. A lot of support was garnered for this Institute for Indigenous Self-Determination. The vision for it was a collaborative institute that would meet the needs of Yukon First Nations as leaders in self-determination. So as you know, Yukon gets looked to as leaders in self-government with our modern treaties, and we want to be able to show what are best practices. And there was a lot of support for this. So when that discussion was had, there was two mandates that came out of those discussions. There was research and professional development. So when we're talking about research, what does that mean? As an institute, you could have research around climate change, or how to build healthy communities, or how do you look at social determinants for health and create social change in governing nations or in small communities. How do you change education rates? There's a bunch of areas for research. One of the areas that keeps coming up with most of the First Nations is around climate change. What does that look like? How can we better respond to the changing environment around us? The other aspect that came out was professional development. So when we're looking at governments and aging populations, a lot of governments have probably 50 to 60% of their larger leadership of their government that are going to be retiring. And they need to be looking at how to do succession planning, how to do on-the-job training, how to build the skills necessary to create the momentum or keep the momentum going around implementing our agreements. So this professional development looks at a couple of aspects. So the discussions have revolved around this idea of having a mentorship model, so a distance mentorship model, where your trainees would be working in the community. They would have a mentor that they would sign on either weekly or bi-weekly. That mentor would guide them through challenges that they're facing at work, or guide them through their curriculum that they're needing to do to get the skills necessary to move into whatever field it is, either HR or finance or wildlife management, whatever it is that is needed in the community. So these two research mandates really allow that flexibility for this institute to respond to the needs of communities. When the project kind of waned throughout after 2016, 2017, after that initial research was done, David Silas went back to communities again in 2018, and there were 9 First Nations that really were ready to commit to this. So with the college now transitioning to a university as of May of 2020, there is a decision point that has to be reached. Are the nations going to support this institute? So I've been going and talking with the different First Nations, the First Nations that had supported as at the end of 2018, and going back and reaffirming commitment on this project. So there's some key deadlines that that we're having to address. So the fact that the Board of Governors at Yukon College wants a commitment to move this project forward before the end of fiscal. So the nations that are in support, we need a minimum of 6 First Nations in support of the project for it to move forward. So after the commitment is made and the partners want to come together, I have a draft partnership agreement that I can send out and you can take a look at. There needs to be a spring gathering to bring the nations, the partners together that want to move this forward. That is tentatively scheduled for the week of April 20th. And Yukon College can pay for 2 participants. So those participants, 1 elder and 1 youth, and each partner can bring up to 5 attendees to the spring gathering. So that would be a celebration signing ceremony for the partnership agreement, and then sit down and decide what are the research initiatives over the next 3 years and what are the priority capacity development areas that want to be addressed. I think one of the most important pieces is the fact that both the First Nations are not going to have to commit to this. Tosh has managed to find 3.7 million to operate this initiative for the first 3 years. There's a lot of strong support from Southern Canada to move this type of initiative ahead. It's definitely an open process. We want to make sure that the neighbors that are not in holding modern treaties are able to participate as well and benefit from the knowledge that is created and shared. So it's definitely an open process. If you need more information or you want to have a discussion, you can email info@gsdstrategies.ca, or you can call me directly at 867-333-9445. Thank you.